Welcome to Health Oddity, the show that strips away the jargon and hype surrounding all things health and fitness to help you live a long, strong and energetic life. Lining up at the bar this week, here's Peter Ladd and James St. Pierre.
Hello and welcome to the Health Oddity podcast, episode 255. Now, to be honest, I won't even try and work it out on the fly because I'm just trying to think when this podcast will go live. But I'm not even going to try because there'll be silence for a few minutes and it won't be very entertaining. But we are recording, like we said. We're recording I think we're recording 2 this week because we're trying to get a few in the bank, as it were, for when Pete and I are on holiday. But it's episode 255 now, and we are going to be joined by a returning guest today, who we are going to very luckily be meeting again in person in a few weeks' time. We'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. I'll just touch base with Pete. How are you doing, Pete? You okay?
I'm doing very well. It was good to see you at the weekend.
Yeah, we've just got back. I was down in Bath with Pete. We had our walking weekend for the gym where there was 16 of us down in Bath. 2 really lovely days of walking, 5 miles on the Friday evening, 10 miles on the Saturday.
Very sunny.
He's got his t-shirt tan out. That's it. And it was lovely as well to meet up with Elise Ball, who's friend of the show, former guest as well. She came with Steve, and she joined us on the Saturday. 2 nice meals in the Bathampton Mill, a couple of beers in the evenings.
Yeah, Fiona was over from Wantage as well.
Fiona was over from the Engine House. Yeah.
And if anyone's wondering as well, if I'm looking like a lot younger, I started taking collagen yesterday. So, because I want hair like our guests, you see. So it's good for your hair and like nails and all that sort of stuff, and your skin and everything, isn't it? So
it's too late for me.
Just in case anyone was like, "Wow, Peter looks a hell of a lot younger than he did on the last episode." That's why, because I started taking it yesterday, and that's how
you've taken it. You've taken it once. Okay.
This is not a filter.
I can see the difference already.
Yeah, this isn't a filter, by the way. This is the real deal.
Okay, well, we are joined from Belfast in Northern Ireland by Mr. Stevie Shanks. How are you doing, Stevie? You okay?
Doing good, guys. Well, there's me and there's young Hamish.
Hamish.
Hey, I've got
going on as well.
Yeah, I've got little Sid down there, little Siddy.
Yeah, little Sid, brilliant.
Hamish, that's a Scottish name, Hamish, isn't it?
It is indeed. It's actually Scottish for James.
Is it?
Yeah. Or Seamus in the Irish, yeah.
So Hamish, Seamus, and James. Brilliant. That's great. Yeah, lovely little Hamish there. Now, I will be.
So I'll be calling you Hamish from now on, James.
Before Seamus, I used to watch a bit of the old wrestling, WWE. There's an Irish guy called Seamus in the wrestling as well. Big, huge ginger white guy.
He was deadlifting recently with Paul Dwyer.
He was deadlifting with Paro Dwyer. I saw that. But all the guys in the wrestling are like massive, but they're all like really tanned and everything. And he's like as white as a sheet, with ginger goatee and moustache. But before we get going, so once we start talking with Stevie, we will just be talking. Like Stevie said, he's got no problem just chatting away, which we will be doing. But before we get starting, I'll tell you, Seamus. Stevie has been on before. Episode 214, an episode we did called The Fabric of Strength. And that came out last October. So it's about 9 months ago when we spoke to Stevie before. So I would recommend, because we're not going to be going back and talking about kind of Stevie's history, the real history of the Dinnie Stones, all the stuff about his dad, Jack Shanks. We're going to be talking about some different stuff today, but if you are interested at all in Stonelifting and the history of Stonelifting and the Dinnie Stones, then I would heavily recommend you go back and listen to episode 214 if you haven't, because we're going to be talking about some different stuff. We still will obviously touch on those things with Stevie today, but it'd be a good idea to listen to that episode first, if possible, or listen to this, then go back to that one. So Stevie, like I said, we're going to see you on the sort of the 2nd, the 3rd of August in Potarch in Scotland,
Park, yeah.
near Aberdeen, for the Gathering, and I believe it's the 9th running of the Donald Dinnie Day. Is that correct? Is it the 9th one this year coming up?
Yep, 9th year. Can't believe it's 9 already, but here we are, year 9.
Yeah. So we can't wait. Both Pete and I are going to be up there. Pete, I think he said he's going to pick me up from the airport on the Saturday night. Hopefully he does. I'm not arriving in Aberdeen till 9:30, but I've heard it's light till about 11 o'clock up there at that time of year. So
James is going to need an oxygen mask because he's being that far north.
I would have never been that. Oh, well, no, I've been further north because I've been to Iceland, but I would have never been that. And I've been to Canada as well, but I've never been that far north in the British Isles, I don't think. Yeah. So
you'll be able to try out. You'll be able to try out the free range haggis.
Oh, free range haggis. What's that?
Free range haggis is far better than the processed stuff.
Yeah,
way better.
Okay. Will they be selling that on the day? Will I be able to get some?
You got to
have to get it in the mountains. You have to track them down in the mountains.
Yeah, you got to catch one first, James. You got to like chase them down. And, yeah, they're everywhere. There's free room.
They've got one leg shorter than the other from running around the hills. You know, they're only running one way around the hills.
Excellent. So, Stevie, how's it going? I mean, you are heavily involved, obviously, in the organising and the running of the Gathering, the Donald Dinnie Day, every year. Like you said, it's the 9th time you've done it. So I presume, you're kind of getting it down to a fine art now and you kind of know exactly what needs to be done. But yeah, how are you doing with the organising? Are you just about there now?
Pretty much, James. Yeah, I mean, it's one I think you say. We've done it so many times now, and I've got an amazing team around me. With Brett and all the guys. I mean, basically, it's a field with rocks in it. That's what it comes down to. But then obviously there's stuff you got to do in the background. With councils and your toilets and your food and all that stuff. But that stuff's all well in hand. I work with the local estate and that. And then Brett and I would chat a lot during the year, and I come up with like a wee program of events that we're going to do, because we have the ladies game, which is the Jan Todd games, which we'll talk about. Obviously the origin of that, etc. We have the Donald Dinnie games, but both of the games feature nothing but natural stones. So basically I send Brett out, off you go and just get me some rocks, and we'll do this with it or we'll do that with it, and we have to change it every year. You want to mix it up. So basically between the two events, we have 9 events, because we have a shared one at the end, which is loading stones on the barrels, which is a good way to finish any strength competition, So then that means there's 4 events for the ladies that are different from the other 4 events for the guys. So it's a great mix, and I do that because I like plenty of variety, and there's so much you can do with natural stones. There really is.
And is it all on that we're going to be able to watch all of that because it all happens on the same day at the same place, yeah?
It happens the same day. So what we do is we alternate. We'd start off with event 1 of the men's, then we have event 1 of the ladies, and then we have a set of lifters coming along to attempt the Dinnie stones, and it's always first time lifters. I try and keep the gathering as much for new people as possible, just to kind of grow the thing and get new people in. And then if they do the Dinnies one year, then they come back, compete in the games the next year. But it's always a progression of new folk, just to spread the word of stone lifting, and like I say, get more people involved. So it's great, and we are well organised. I mean, with Brett and the guys, I mean, we've new equipment that we're making this year. We always wanted to do like a loading medley. And so we've got this thing this year, and I always name the games after, Jan Todd, or we would name an event after David Webster or Terry Todd. It's always somebody of note within the strength community. But this new one, I've named it the Potarch Bridge Challenge. So we actually named it after the bridge. Yeah. So like I say, Brett and I have wanted to do a medley for the guys for ages. So what was this idea of there's a ring stone, about 115 kilos thereabouts. You basically take it down by the ring, duck walk it down for 10 meters. Then you go back and grab another one, which you pick up like a Husafell stone, which is about 140 odd kilos, 150, heavy enough. And they have to bring that down Husafell style and set it down. Then they go back and they get another stone, put it onto their shoulder, come back with it on their shoulder, put it down, and then there's a preloaded sled with 360 kilos on it. Now, the combined weight of the 3 stones that they carry is 332 kilos, which is exactly the weight of the Dinnie stones. So we're trying to link it all to that challenge as much as possible. Then we're going to load them onto the sled, but we thought for speed we'll have it preloaded. So we're putting his big nickels on it, which are 360 kilos, are heavy. So then they got to run back and they've got to drag it on a rope. So it's
so are they doing like, are they going to do like an arm over arm pull, or do they just hold it and walk with this? Oh, like an arm over arm pull.
Yeah, arm over arm pull. So that's for a distance of 17 feet, 1.5 inches, which is the width of the bridge.
Yeah.
So we're trying to connect everything, So I'm excited about that one. We got we got the equipment made there, and it's just ready. The guys are going to start testing it now. So it was John Gibb, his dad, made it for us, and he did a great job. So I've seen the photographs of it. They're just getting the planks this weekend to attach onto the sled, and then there's runners that they pull the sled along. Because if we did it in grass, the first guys might go on it and the grass might be dry, and then the rains might start, and by the time the last guy goes, it could be wet. So we want to keep the surface consistent for everybody.
I was just going to ask. I was going to say, yeah, dragging a sled on grass is going to be potentially very, just depends on the conditions, doesn't it, and everything else.
It does, yeah. So we've got rails made, and they're hammered down into the ground, and so they pull it along the rails. So it's exactly 17 feet, 1.5 inches. So it's all kind of connected to the Dinnie stones, the Potarch, to the bridge, the weights, and it's a medley. So I'm really excited about that one. I really am.
Oh, and you mentioned John Gibb there. We had John on the podcast as well. He was great because
John put a comment on the last Dan John episode, and he said he's been on 11 times. So he's only got 10 more to go.
Oh, did he? I didn't see that. Was that on the YouTube? Was it or something? I didn't see that. Oh dear. Yeah. Okay. No,
John's a good lad. He's really come on quick in the Stonelifting world. He came out of nowhere, contacted me, goodness, it was about 4 or 5 years ago, and he was in a Jefferson deadlift with. Do you want to hold up Thor's hammer
there?
So we.
Yes.
Jefferson.
Sorry, you've got great memory.
Jim doesn't use that for ages.
That one over my head. I've not used this for ages. Yeah, there you go. Thor's hammer.
There you go.
Yeah.
So he did a Jefferson. He was only doing a Jefferson about 150 kilos, which Jefferson, for anybody who doesn't know, is a straddle deadlift. He basically put one leg in front, one leg behind, and picked the bar up like a deadlift. And then very quickly, within literally months, because I was talking to him over the internet, which is okay, but he lived not too far away from Brett, so I put him in touch with Brett Nicol. He went down and started training with Brett, and within a few months, he was pulling the rate of the speed from. That's the doggy. There's somebody at the door. So John's great, and his dad's been great with us. He made us equipment last year it was an event that I called Rock the Casbar.
Okay.
So it's named after Kaz.
Yeah.
So it is named after Bill Kazmaier, and it's basically weight over the bar. And what I wanted to do was we actually ran it a few years ago, and I wanted it to be like a weight over the bar for reps. So we kept the weight down to 20 kilos, and I had a stone with a ring in it that they did. But we had put the stone in, we drilled the stone and put one of these roll plug things in it and cemented it in. And thankfully, I had two with me because within a couple of throws, the ring came off. But it wasn't John's fault. The equipment that his dad made was amazing because we put it at 11 feet and it looks fantastic. But I think it was.
So how high was that then in meters? Because I've recently just had to do like a throw with a sandbag. And but you're doing this throw. You do these throws like the Highland Games style, one-handed, don't you?
Yes. Well, they can do one or two hands. I don't really mind which way they do it. It's just get it over as many times as you can. One hand seems to be the most efficient way.
Yeah. So that's about 11 feet is about three and a half.
Pause a second here and just look at Rock the Casbah, because that is genius. It's a rock, Kaz in a bar. It's like, I mean, I know like everyone's probably got that, but my little brain's going, that is amazing.
I only looked daft. Yeah. No, I mean, you can always come up with these lovely titles for these things, but it's easy to do. And particularly with me being a rock musician, and doing rocks. Rock the Casbah was a no-brainer. It was about 3.5 meters roughly.
Yeah, I was going to say about 3.5 meters. Yes, and that's 20 kilos over 3.5 meters. And like I say, some people were doing it, one-handed.
One hand or two, and I don't mind. Most of them did it one-handed. It seems to be a more efficient way to do it. But within about 3 throws, the handle came off, broke. Because it was landing on the ground. So I had a spare one. But then moving to the spur when you have nothing in reserve, your heart's in your mouth. And literally the last guy to go was Connor Curran. And on his last throw, I was like, oh, thank goodness we got through that. I went over to pick the stone up and the handle came out of it.
So it's just hanging on by for dear life, and it just hung
Yeah.
on. Brilliant.
So I had an idea to do, but the next time I did it was for the ladies last year. And I thought, that we're going to have to do something to fix that. So rather than put a ring into it, Brett is a tree surgeon. And I was speaking to him about, could we wrap it up in a net with a handle? Some kind of a handle, then it won't come out and it's rope. So he does a thing as a tree surgeon. It's called a monkey fist. Now, you would have seen this on movies before where you see the guys with the axes and a bit of stone and it's all roped on.
Yes,
or
yeah.
They have like a club, like a mace, where you've got all the rope wrapped around it. So that's called a monkey fist. So he made a monkey fist on I think it was a 13-kilogram stone we used for the ladies last year. And he was able to weave a handle into it. So it's rock solid. And then he actually put glue in it as well. But see, for me, when we're doing the gathering, we're trying to recreate old stuff. Like really old time strongman stuff. And I always look at the field before we start. And if there's anything, if you think in your mind, let's rewind the clock 300 years. Is there anything on the field that would look out of place 300 years ago? If there is, get it off. We don't want it. We want everything to look authentic. So that's why we're just using stones and basically iron, or wood, things that would have been available to guys 300 years ago or 1,000 years ago even, because it doesn't really matter how far you go back. We're trying to get that authentic look. So I thought with rope wrapped around it and a handle, and it worked amazing. It was fantastic. So we're doing one for the guys this year, 20-kilogram one for the guys with a monkey fist. So I think it's going to be brilliant.
Oh no, that's incredible. You did mention
that we're going to be watching it now, like really worried. We're going to be like, please work.
So next year we're going to do catch the rock. You thought we were going to have a guy catching the rock? Yeah.
that'll be like when we were kids and we used to like stand at opposite ends of the field and someone would whack a golf ball and you'd try and catch it at the other end.
Oh my goodness! Yeah.
Those were the days.
Yep.
Yeah, because I was just looking. Actually, I just kind of thought. I think probably this is probably going to go out around about the 18th of July, maybe the 25th of July. So it's only going to go out like maybe a week or two prior to the day, which is going to be fantastic. You did mention rain a minute ago. I'm just wondering, how likely is it to rain on this day? Out of the 8 that you've done so far, do I need to bring a waterproof up with me? Is it likely?
Okay, a few words for you. It's in Scotland. It's Scotland. My goodness, it's. I mean, I'll be honest with you, we've been so lucky over the years. I mean, we really have. I don't want to tempt fate.
Because I've watched videos, and it's when I've watched the videos of it, it looks like really sunny, and it's looked like beautiful, and
it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Basically, James, it could be like 28 degrees. It could be 3 degrees. It could be chucking it down. You might need like factor 50. Anything. Just bring everything.
All that, because the reason I'm not really worried about getting wet, I'm just wondering about how much more difficult it makes the events. I mean, I suppose that's part of it. You're out in the elements. It's natural. They're natural stones. Obviously it's going to be much easier for people. I mean, obviously easy is a relative term because they're lifting heavy.
Less difficult.
But it's going to be better for the people if it's dry. But I suppose if it gets wet, then they just have to deal with it, don't they?
Particularly on because we're going to have ring stone lifts as well. We're doing one. I call it the Big Jack and Wee Donald challenge. Big Jack being my dad, Wee Donald being Donald Dinnie. And it's basically two ring stones. Similar to the one I have a set of ring stones out the back that Brett gave me, and the big one's 163 kilos and the wee one's 115. And they have rings on them that were made by a guy called Alan Hale. Alan used to have a company called Killer Strength Scotland. Hasn't been around for a few years, but he very kindly made me a set of rings for the stones that Brett gave me, and they're identical to the Dinnie stone rings in every way. The shape, the thickness of the metal that he used, the fact that there's a bolt through the big one. He actually put them side by side on the Dinnie stones when he made them for me and sent me a photograph. And they're fantastic. But I used them on the Donald Dinnie Day Ireland. Only got to run it once over here, and it was 31 degrees that day. It was really hot. But one of the events was the Big Jack and Wee Donald, because I called the Big Stone Big Jack and the Wee Stone Wee Donald. And so they had to pick those up and hold them for time.
Okay.
So we're bringing that into the gathering this year. I'm going to replicate them. I might bring some of my own stones over. I'm bringing my dad with me, so I might just get Brett to get me something in around the 163, 115 mark, and we can use that. It doesn't really matter, because whatever stones we use is going to be the same for everybody.
Yeah. Oh wow! No, this sounds absolutely fantastic. I can't wait, and I know that Pete is the same. He's very excited as well. Now, you had recently, just to change tack slightly, you had a friend of the show, former guest of the show, Sven over with you
Sven,
recently,
yes.
didn't you? Yeah.
Yes.
And he came over and met yourself and your dad and did some lifting and heard some stories. And I know he put a really lovely post together with some photos and some videos of the day. How did that come about? Because I know you helped him, because he's lifted the Dinnie stones before, and you I think he said he'd only been in touch with you sort of virtually, like online and stuff, and over the phone and email and stuff before. So how did that come about that he managed to meet up with you and spend a day with you?
Well, it's with the whole Dinnie Stone attempts thing. I mean, everybody comes through me to get it. It's not that I decide who lifts and who doesn't. I just manage that side of it on behalf of the Lovey Estate. So what happens is the lifter will contact me, show me evidence of ability. And again, I'm not judging folk. What we're trying to do is just make sure that anybody's going to take them on has at least some experience of stone lifting, because you can wreck yourself on these things. They're so heavy, and if you've no experience and come in, cold and try them, I mean, the damage could be permanent. So we just do a wee bit of a sense check to make sure that lifters, are capable. Not that they're going to be successful, but that they know about weightlifting. So we asked them to show me you lifting 300 kilos. It could be on a raised trap bar, could be on a Kennedy lift, Thor's hammer. That's a Jefferson from 18 inches. And a Jefferson is a straddle deadlift.
Oh, so okay, that's great. So the Kennedy lift is a Jefferson deadlift, but very specifically from 18 inches, the bar height. Yeah,
18 inches.
Okay.
Yes. It's the only place really in the world that has records on that is the USAWA, which is the United States All Round Weightlifting Association, which is linked to the International All Round Weightlifting Association based. Well, the headquarters are in England. But we've got some people over here doing it now. So there's a big link there. But that Kennedy lift is on the books for the USAWA. I'm trying to get it on the books for the IIWA, because I would love to see it in competition over here. It's my favorite lift. So the lifters will come to me and just do something like that, or a ring stone lift at 300, just to show ability. But 300 is a long way from 332, but it ticks the box for the owners. They're happy about the risk management side of it. So what I do is I book them in on. I get the first Tuesday in every month allocated to me by the owners. So I fill that with 8 lifters per session for the year. So everybody comes through. I mean, I was lifter number 49, I think. We're up to 360 something now. So that's 320 odd lifters that I've got through the books. But when I say I've got through, I book them in, pass it on to Jim and Brett and the Blogie team. They meet them on the day, and record their lift and verify their lift, and then they send it back to me and I put it on the website. So it's a good team we have, and it's a good process, works really well. So generally speaking, I only get to speak to folk through email or through social media. They come to me and we've got you in for the 2nd of September 2025, away you go. And then they come back to me and we send them photographs and all that. So that's generally how I speak to the guys. On the odd occasion that I am in Scotland, where there is a session, obviously, of course, they'll be down and you get to meet the guys face to face. But generally, it's virtually. So Sven and I had only really ever spoken over email and social media. So he contacted me to say he was going to be traveling around Europe, and he was in Scotland for a while, and he was coming over to Ireland. And he said, any chance we could kind of hook up and we shake hands for the first time, while I'm here, of course. So I invited him up to the house, come up to his lovely family, and we spent a day here. And obviously I showed him Planet Granite, where I keep all my weightlifting, and we were there. I said, well, let's do a wee bit out here. And I took him up to show him Brett Stone's Big Jack and Wee Donald. He had to go on that, and I said, look, because we had sort of said, if you have time, could I go and see your dad? And I'd spoken to Dad, and he was around. He says, of course, call up. So while we were there, we were having a nice cup of tea, and I said, do you want to see Dad's homemade replicas out the back, and he went, "Oh, I." And I said, "Well, like I happen to have a set of rings and pins up here at Dad's house and some plates, which I just keep there in case anybody would come up. So if you wish, you can warm up and have a go." And he went, "Oh, he was right up for it. And he did a great lift on them. He really did. They are heavy. I mean, when Dad made them, they were 200 kilos in the big stone and 160 kilos in the little stone. Now, because they're made out of concrete and they're over 50 years old, just time and weather and rain and stuff has eroded them a wee bit. So they're down about the 196 mark for the big one. And I think that the wee one's 152-ish. So they've lost a wee bit of weight, but chipped off and stuff, but they're still monsters. I lifted them once, but when I say lifted them, I got the window, I got them hovering off the ground, but I wasn't able to fully lock out. But Sven came along and did a great lift with them. He really did.
So that's about 350. That's about 350 kilos combined, isn't it? Or 351, something.
Thereabouts, yes. Yeah, they're about yeah.
Yeah, wow.
It's a fair lump of weight for this.
Yeah.
I think in pounds, that's about 770 pounds.
Yeah. And that's on those rings as well, isn't it? So that's
those rings. And Dad's rings are a bit thinner, so they're like cheese wire. They're really, they're tough.
God. Yeah, it was funny because I think I mentioned to you, Sven, he came off the ferry in Harwich in Essex, and then he messaged me, I think the day before, and said, "I'm going to stop by the gym." And he stopped by and he had his and he was in his camper. And can you remember what his wife's called? Is it Fritz or something like that? Fritzy. And Liam, and Liam's the little son. Liam was asleep in the camper van because they got this kind of camper, haven't they? So he stayed in the camper. And then I took Sven and we had a coffee around the corner and had a chat. And then he was just sort of stopping on his way because he'd only just got off the ferry about 45 minutes drive away, and then he said he was going to try and get over to Ireland and Wales, and he was really going to be driving around everywhere. No, so he's such a lovely guy, isn't he? It was.
We had a fantastic day. I just got a certificate printed out yesterday, so I'm going to take it up to Dad, get him to sign it and send it off to him.
Oh God, yeah, no, he'll absolutely love that. He'll absolutely love that. And then another thing I was going to ask you about is, I think obviously it's only like 4 weeks, maybe 4.5 weeks, I think, till, I mean, I know you've got the days on countdown, but it's only about 4.5 weeks as we're recording till the till the gathering. But next week, I think you're off to Norway, aren't you? Is it next week?
Yes, I leave on I think it's the 10th of July.
Oh, okay, so a couple of weeks
back
time.
On the 14th. Yeah, a couple of weeks time. It's because I've been speaking to Kiki, who runs it with her husband, and we're talking about her coming over to compete in the John Todd Games and take on the Dinnie Stones. Because I mean, one of the things about competing in the John Todd Games and the Dinnie Stones, or the Donald Dinnie Games, is you must have lifted the Dinnie Stones beforehand. That's the pre-call. And it basically, for me, it shows commitment to the stone lifting and the whole ethos of the day. So that's why we set that in place. And it does kind of thin the field out a wee bit. You do have a smaller pot to choose from. On the guys' side of it's booming, so we've plenty to choose from there. The ladies, one of the things I suggested years ago was, because we don't permit straps, because we like to keep it a natural lift. But speaking to all the guys, speaking to Jim and Brett and all the team at Belogie, there was only Jan Todd had done it in 1979, and nobody was really coming forward from the ladies' side.
Well, so Jan did it without straps.
He did it with straps in 79.
Yeah.
But we'd obviously removed that once we kind of formalized everything. But because there was no ladies coming forward, I suggested that we introduce straps for the ladies. For now, we can maybe take it away at some point, just to promote inclusion. To get the girls interested, get ladies coming along and taking the stones on. So Lee Holland Keane came along in 2018, and she was the first lady then since Jan to pull them. I mean, I always put them in the groups, and so it was group 1 she was in with me. I was lifting that year myself, and I didn't do a very good lift at all. I kind of got them up, but not great. But the Lee came along, and boom, wow, she was brilliant. And so that kind of lit the fire for the ladies, So I think we've about 13 ladies on the books now.
Has Chloe Brennan done them?
She was great that day. I mean, the big lift that Chloe's done was the rogue replicas. I remember coming home from a gig, and I just got in about 1 or 2 in the morning. Obviously, the Arnold's was live streaming, And it was just, I just came in and so on. Heather was watching it. And it was just at the bit where they were doing the rogue replica Denny's, and Donna Moore was there, Rebecca was there, and Chloe was there. And she did the first one, it failed. Second one, they kind of come up a wee bit. But then something, you could just see in her face, you just seen it right. You just seen it was like a shutter coming down. You could see the determination. She clapped her hands and away she went. And we were screaming at the TV here, and she had fully stood up with them. It was a perfect lift, my goodness. We're all so proud of her. But
yeah,
what a lift that she's done.
That first one she did, because she's been on the podcast. She's a friend of the show.
Yes.
That first lift she did, she like drops them and stumbles, doesn't she? And then she's like, right.
It was the second one. She kind of had them because they were coming, and then her grip slipped and she fell back, and but she got up and she shook herself down and away she went. Wow, it was brilliant.
Yeah, because Chloe's coming to my gym in August to do like a workshop. So I'll get to meet her in person. But she's doing like a workshop on kind of like Olympic lifting, and then how you transfer that into strongman. So for things like logs, axles, dumbbells. Also things like stones to shoulders, how you use that sort of triple extension to get stones to shoulders and things. So no, I can't wait to meet her in person, because she's
great.
She's not a big lady, is she? You know what I mean? So yeah,
no.
Yeah.
She was telling me she was going to do a bit more of the strong woman stuff. So she wanted to kind of bulk up a wee bit, not getting up around the sort of 15, 16 stone mark, but she just wanted to push herself up in around the 80 kilos. I'm not sure how far she's got, but you can tell she's bigger.
Yeah, because I think she was still competing at like under 73 or under 74 or something like that. So she was kind of in that kind of range, wasn't she? So,
she's kind of in and around the body weight of that I am, when she's lifting bigger stones than I ever lifted, which is great. She is, No, she's very, very good at that.
Yeah,
and she competed last year in the John Todd Games.
Yeah. So FIFO, where you're going over to Norway. What is FIFO? Because I have to confess I'm not aware of it. So it'd be great if you can let us know what that is. It's a whole week, I think you said, in Norway.
Yeah. So it's so Kiki Bertie Johnson and her husband they run this. I think his name's Early. It lasts for a week, and there's all sorts of strength competitions and stonelifting competitions, and mainly athletes come from all over the world for it. Because I've been aware of it, mainly, well, obviously through social media you get to hear about these things, and the stonelifting community is very tight. But particularly from the gathering, because a lot of the athletes, particularly the ladies, they would go and compete in FIFO Strength Week, and then they would complete the trip and come over to Scotland and compete in the gathering. So the girls have been telling me about it for years, about how good it is and how everybody sort of hangs out. They obviously compete against each other, but they're all friends as well. So it's always interested me. And then Kiki contacted me because she was interested in taking on the Dinnie stones. So what I generally do is I insist that folk take on the Dinnies and then come back and the next year and compete in the games. But for the ladies, some of them are traveling such distances, so what I've done for the ladies, again, just to promote inclusion and get more involved, is I run a wee session. I kind of kept this secret, but up to now, so it's this is it. This is the cat out of the bag. I keep it.
Don't worry, nobody will be listening.
Only if anybody watches this. I keep
only people in James's gym.
On the Saturday at the Aboyne Games, we always have the Dinnie stones on display. So what I've done is I've kept a few spaces up my sleeve, because the gathering fills up in minutes. Literally after this year, come mid-September, it'll probably be full, for 2026. But what it is, it allows the ladies to come along, take on the stones on the Saturday, and if they want to compete in the John Todd Games, they can do that on the Sunday. But they've got at least a day's rest, because what we did with Hannah when she came over, Hannah Lindsay, we did her on the Sunday at the opening of the games at 12 o'clock, but then she was straight into the John Todd Games after her Dinnie attempt, so kind of thought if I can at least
is Hannah Lindsay, she's the American lady, is that right?
She is, yes. She was competed in the Arnolds and all sorts of sort of Jan Slide things. She's amazing. She was she was John Todd Games champion 2 years in a row. She was, so she's not competing this year, so there'll be a new champion this year. But she is absolutely great. So with Kiki and I we're chatting about that, about setting her lift up and then maybe the next day compete in the games. And she's obviously, unfortunately, she had to pull out. She had a bit of surgery in her shoulder, I think it was. So she's had to pull out. this year. But while we were talking, she said, Stevie, come over. Come over to Fee for the week, and we can talk about Dinnie stones. You can, do that thing you do where you just wind me up and let me go and talk about Dinnie stones, which I can do all day. So we're going to do a wee bit of a workshop and, talk about the Dinnies and the Donald Dinnie Day gathering and the Donald Dinnie games, John Todd games, all of that sort of stuff, So I can't wait, honestly. I just can't wait.
Yeah.
It's
So what
going
is
to be
it? Is
really
that
exciting.
all? You said that's all different sort of strength sports and things there. So is it more? Does it include the more traditional kind of powerlifting and strongman and stuff, or is it more to do with like the stones and that sort of thing? FIFA week.
There's a bit of everything at it, but primarily the big focus for me. I mean, I'll be able to tell you better the
Yeah.
14th of July when I come back. But the primary focus to me seems to be the stone lifting side of it. That's the thing it seems to. I mean, obviously that there's more that they do in the strongman and strong woman field as well. But primarily, I think it's down to stone lifting, and that's what my passion is, and particularly the Denny stone. So I'll be going over to talk about that. I think that's on the Thursday night. I'm doing a wee session, so I'll fly out there, get the train over, meet up with the guys, and just see what's happening. What I said, there's I'm there for 4 days. Whatever you need me to do, I'm going to do it.
Oh, that sounds great. That's going to be an adventure as well, being in Norway, isn't it? So that'll be, it's fantastic. Yeah, really, really good. So you mentioned a few times the Jan Todd games. Now we are, as you know, I've been trying to get Jan on the podcast for quite a while, and I did have some contact and back and forth. And you said, yeah, no, she's a busy lady. So, but yeah, we're trying to get that sorted still. But yeah, so the Jan Todd games is obviously named after Jan Todd, who was the first lady to ever lift the Dinnies, and like you said, that was back in like 1979, I think.
Yes,
Is that correct?
that's correct.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
So, and she's like, I know, obviously, was married, obviously, to Dr. Terry Todd and things, and has very much had a lifetime of kind of physical culture and strength education and powerlifting and all things strength, and is kind of intertwined in the history of the modern history of strength, I suppose, isn't she? So and she's coming over again, isn't she, for the gathering this year, I think.
Yes, indeed. Yes. I mean, the whole sort of gathering idea, it basically came from Terry and John, because we made that documentary called Stoneland, and that was in August 2016. And it was in around the weekend of the Aboyne Highland Games. So my dad and I they've been very kindly invited my dad and I over just to take part in the documentary. And while we were there, I noticed, I mean, Terry was there, John Todd was there, David Webster, Brett Nicol, Jim Splain, Bill Crawford. There were so many people there who had actually lifted the stones before. And obviously my dad and I were there too. I think there was 7 of us, and then Martin Johnson was there, but he hadn't lifted the stones at this stage, but he went on to lift them. And I noticed my dad talking to Bill Crawford and David Webster, talking to Martin and Brett, talking to Jim, and all these were meeting for the first time, a lot of them. And I thought, wouldn't it be lovely if everybody who lifted the stones came together on a day just to, yes, lift the stones if they wished, but just to talk about their adventures, because it's normally a very solitary thing. When you look back at all the old photographs, sort of from my dad, even up to where I lifted the stones, a lot of them you see them, they're lifting in the snow on their own, in the dead of winter, So I thought, wouldn't it be lovely for those guys just all to meet up? So because I was number 49, if you take off the first two, which is Donald Dinnie and his dad, obviously you aren't around anymore, so that's 47. Take off my dad and I, it's 45, and the 6 or 7 people that were there, you're down to like 39 lifters. That I had to contact who had experienced the stones before. So it wasn't a huge amount of people. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to do this. And I said, what I'll maybe do is I'll do it on this day next year, because it gives me a year to organise it. But also anybody who's maybe travelling can get to do the Aboyne Games as well as this event. So it kind of makes more of the weekend. And we've stuck with it ever since. So I managed to contact everybody except 2. No, 3, because there's one that sadly passed away. There was David Prowse, who was the Green Cross Code Man, or Darth Vader in the Star Wars, for the first Star Wars movie. He wasn't too well, so I wasn't able to get I wasn't able to get in contact with him at the time. And there was another guy called Raymond Bergmanis, who you'd have known from the strongman days back in the 90s. He had done it. He was like president of Finland or something like that. So he was, so he was kind of hard to get a hold of. But apart from that, I got everybody else, and most of them actually turned up. We had, I think, about 35 take part in the day, and we had 4 carry attempts in the Dinnie Stones. 2 were successful. We had Brian Irwin from Belfast, and we had Mark Haydock. He's from Lancashire. So he's. I mean, Mark's a big sort of like a big name in the IAWA. He's a very prominent member of that and has been around for years. Lifted the Dinnie Stones many times. Holds the current sort of lift and hold record at 46.3 seconds. So he's it'd be a very well-known name in the Dinnie Stone circle. So we had a great day. The next year we did the same thing. We had Dinnie Stone lifters, like 5 groups. That was the year that Lee Holland King came along and did that amazing lift that she did. But it did occur to me, that it was just, I was just conscious that the only thing on offer was people lifting the Dinnie Stones. And I thought, wait, how many years can we do this? If we keep doing this, like 5 groups of 5 lifters, it's going to lose its edge. And I always noticed that by the time you got to the last group, the crowd was maybe thinning out a wee bit. So I spoke to the guys, I spoke to Brett in particular. I said, look, we've got to do some games. We've got to introduce games. We can't do Highland games because they happened the day before. But why not we do it all natural stones? Because this is about stone lifting. So that's when David Webster had always said that he would love to do a Donald Dinnie Day. Him and I had spoke about this many times. So I thought we could kill 2 birds with 1 stone here. The first one was called Dinnie Steens, the Gathering. That's just what we called it. It was a picture of the Dinnie Stones on the t-shirt. But I thought, why don't we just call it the Donald Dinnie Day Gathering? Because I didn't want to lose the Gathering thing. And the Gathering actually came from, because I play in a Queen tribute band. I play drums for that. And there's a movie called Highlander. And they're all talking about the Gathering, I can't wait, the Gathering is coming. So I thought I'd just call it the Gathering because of that, because it just sounded cool. But obviously, the more you delve into Highland Games, we always talk about the Highland Games gatherings, and that's what they're called locally. So it all fitted perfectly, So I thought the Donald Dinnie Day Gathering, because I didn't want to lose the gathering aspect of it. And we introduced in 2019, we introduced the first Donald Dinnie Games. Jamie Gorian was the first champion of that. And it was just 4 events in year 1, and event 4 was the Ardblair Stones, which everybody would have heard of. They used to travel around Scotland. Charlie Blair Elephant had those, and then from the year after that, from 2020 onwards, it was all natural stones. There was no sort of Atlas Stonesy type things. And then this will be year 3 now of the Jan Todd Games, because the ladies were getting more involved. And obviously, ladies' strength is much more prominent worldwide, and it's really growing. So I thought, well, let's help that, and let's get the ladies in now, because we had enough ladies who were successful in the Dinnies that would be enough for a competition. I think that in the first year we had 5 ladies. Last year we had 7. This year we have 6. But it's different ladies every year, because one of the things that's happening on the Donald Dinnie weekend is OSG are running the European, the Europe's strong man, strong woman competition. So some of the ladies are competing in that and can't make it. I think Chloe's competing in that. Donna Moore was coming, but then some of her athletes are all competing in that. So she wants to be there to support her athletes, which is fine. It's totally understandable. So that kind of thins our numbers out a wee bit, but still have 6 ladies and 10 guys competing in the game. So that's kind of the background, and obviously it was a no-brainer to name them the Donald Dinnie Games, and the Jan Todd was a no-brainer for me as well, because obviously, because Jan, and sort of going back to the start of the story, because Jan has supported it pretty much every year, and it was pretty much her that kicked the whole thing off by inviting Dad and I over, and it all came from Stoneland, So she's coming this year, and we've got a shiny new trophy. So we have the trophy that I used for the first couple of years. I seen it on the internet, and it was this fierce warrior, princess girl. She had a sword and a shield and a helmet and all the stuff that they were, and it looked amazing on the internet. And then it arrived at my house, and it was about this size. I had this lovely big wooden cliff made for it, and we set it in the middle, and it was just lost. My goodness, it was embarrassing. It looked amazing, but it just was nowhere near as big as I thought. So we spoke to the guys at Fox Mouldings. We had a photograph from the front and a photograph from the rear of Jan lifting the stones. So they took those 2 photographs and did a 3D printer thing, and they created this. And you know what? It has turned out. You couldn't even imagine how well it's turned out. I'm absolutely
And
delighted with it.
is this the first time you're going to use that trophy this year? Did you say?
It only
Yeah.
arrived about a week and a half ago. Yeah.
Oh
So it did.
wow!
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So I have showed it to Jan, and she likes it. Thank goodness. So I can show it to everybody now. So I'm going to do a wee post on it. Like a wee podcasty thing on it, and just explain what it is and show everybody. I was talking to Brett there last week. We did the first podcast for the Gather, and I was able to ta-da. So I'm very pleased with that. Very proud of it.
And what's the trophy for the men? Is that like always the same every year for the men? Is that Is that like the like a Donald Dinnie kind of trophy? Is it?
Yes. Now again, in the first year, David Webster provided me with the trophy. But what he'd actually done, he'd gone to his house and he got a base of one, and he got a middle bit of another, and a top, and he screwed them all together. And the rest of his family said, no, that's not going to be your legacy, Dad. So the family all got together, and they got this mold made of Donald Dinnie with the Dinnie stones. It was David Webster's son, which is David as well. So it's David Jr. contacted me, and we obviously looked at the design and made all the wee adjustments to it on the clay molding. And so we have this lovely big brass thing that the family, I mean, it cost a packet. So obviously got a nice wooden base made for it, and we've got a big flight case. So that's on display every year. That stays at Potarch every year, and the John Todd one will as well. So I get wee plaques made up, with the Donald Dinnie logo on them. First place, second place, third place for the John Todd games and for the Donald Dinnie games. So everybody gets to take something home, and then we've like Cerberus would sponsor us, with prizes for the athletes, etc. And Steve Gardner's putting up a cash prize this year. Steve Gardner's the president of the IAWA, so he's very kindly put up a cash thing. So it's great. Everything has come together, but it's all the Stonelifting community itself. I may push the thing in the background and invite all the athletes and do that, but when it comes on the day, when you have Brett and his team come down, and but without those guys, there's no chance of me putting that on myself. Not a chance.
Yeah.
So
but that's what's so great, isn't it? Like you say, that you've got everyone's putting together and making it, the event that it is, which is fantastic. Yeah. And you did mention, we'll kind of, before we wrap up, we'll touch on, because you mentioned the Stoneland documentary, which Rogue did, which was a very big kind of documentary. Yeah. I think you said that was 2016 when they filmed that.
August 2016, yeah, come out December that year, yeah.
Yeah, and then obviously there was the Stones documentary, which was the sort of the rise, the fall, and then the rise of Scottish stonelifting, which Maximum Iron did, which was another great documentary. And then obviously Stones 2, which I'm just holding up like a little card. Maximum Iron is in the process of, or James from Maximum Iron is in the, I spoke to him on the phone. He's quite, because I said to him about coming on the podcast, and he said he's quite shy, about actually himself doing things, but he's in the process of, that's going to be all about stonelifting in Ireland, isn't it? And he's going to be, I know. Yes. So did you say that you've got some events coming up that he is going to be over filming footage and things like that? Is that correct?
Yeah, we've a few things coming. Obviously, way back when we found that first stone on the Aran Islands, that's all down to David Keown. David, what a job he's done. We nicknamed him Indiana Stones.
He started from watching that Stones documentary, didn't he? He said he saw that over lockdown, and that's where it started from. So like that,
Stoneland has triggered a lot of things. Yeah. So David's obviously doing a lot. He's gone on TV. He's writing books. He's gone on podcasts. Spreading the word. And he's found a ton of stones. I've created a website for him. So he's basically, once he's all this done, he's going to start sending me all the photographs, videos, and all the weight of the stone location, a bit of the history. So I'll get all that onto the website for him, and then it'll be Stonelifting Ireland. I think it's .net, stoneliftingireland.net or something like that. So but it's live now, but I've only got a few stones on it, but we'll get more. So he's been doing that, running competitions, attending competitions. Up in the north here, we have the Irish Stone Monsters. That's really the driving force behind that is Simon Truesdale, who is Glenn Ross's brother. You remember Glenn Ross, the daddy?
Great, yeah. I'll be seeing Glenn Ross at the weekend, because I'm at the UK's Strongest Man Finals in Nottingham, and that's Glenn Ross's comp. Yeah, so he's a character.
He's a great guy. Yeah. I really like Glenn. We attended Ireland's Strongest Man there recently. at the Crumlin Road Jail in Belfast here. Glenn hosted it and he invited my dad and I along. And he made a big fuss at Dad for his 90th birthday, which was lovely. It was really nice, you know. So Simon has formed the Irish Stone Monsters. You know, there's myself and there's about 13 of us now. But Simon and I put on the Donald Dinnie Day Ireland. We did that 2021. It was the year after lockdown, and it was a great success. We just financially we just couldn't afford to do it every year, unfortunately. So it kind of took a wee bit of a backseat, but it's coming back again. So one of the things that we're working with Jamie Gorian, who runs Scotland's strongest stone lifter, and he's done Britain's strongest stone lifter. So he's asked us to host it this year in Ireland. So we're going to do that in September. But prior to that, there's obviously all these different local qualifiers, like Scotland's strongest stone lifter, Ireland's strongest stone lifter now will be a qualifier for Britain's. So we're holding that. I think it's the 7th of August, it's the week after the Gather. And then we've other sort of qualifying things and other events that we're using, and we've formed a proper company now for the Irish Stone Monsters, you know, just to promote stone lifting, and it's going really well, you know, and we've got new members coming up all the time. You know, so, and I mean, Simon, he's really because I mean, obviously my focus is really the Gathering, you know, but I mean, I help Simon as much as I can, but I mean, he's the man, he's like a whirlwind. So he's so much energy for it, you know, he's always got new ideas, and, you know, I think some of his ideas for the Gathering as well. So, you know, but then we swap ideas. I'll put it that way, we swap ideas.
We said, didn't we, that David Keown's just got back from Boston in America because he had like an Irish stone shipped over there, didn't he? For well, can you? I know that's David who's just done that, but you obviously are very aware of what he's done and what's happened over there. What do you just tell us a little bit about that?
Well, it's the guys that run the No Fame Games over in Boston. I had considered going over with them, and I'd love to have went with them, but they've got fee for. I'm doing the Rogue in Aberdeen later this year. We've got the Gathering coming up. You know, there's a lot going on, so I just couldn't even just financially I couldn't afford. But maybe next year I would love to go over because they did invite me, and I'd love to go out with David because David's good crack. Him and I've been on Isla, you know, finding new stones and stuff and drinking whiskey together. It's been great.
You told me about that last year. Yeah.
22
there was a lot of whiskey involved, wasn't there?
Well, it was a great trip, but he's just back, so I'm just starting to see he's just starting to post his photos now. I'll maybe give him a wee call in a couple of days when he's settled in just to see how it went. But it looked fantastic, and they invited him over to talk about stones. So he thought, what can I bring over as a gift? So it's a 115 kilogram stone. It was one that he used himself a lot, you know, and particularly in his early days when he was training. You know, so 115 kilogram stone for him now is nothing. He's picking up 190 kilogram stones these days, you know, but it kind of is a stone that was personal to him, you know, and so he brought it back to his house. I think he was using it at home for training, and he got that shipped over to America from Ireland as a gift.
So he didn't take it by Ryanair then, obviously, because that would have cost a fortune.
I don't think they allow 115 kilogram stones as cabin luggage, you know. Don't quite fit under the seat.
Oh dear.
Yeah, and they had that shipped out, and they did a wee fundraiser, and we all sort of chipped in a few quid, you know, to get it out there, which was great.
Yeah, no, it's great. I thought I'd just tell you as well. Do you remember Emma Gray, who was at my gym? She was training for the Dinnies. She contacted you, I think, and she got injured, but she's going to be helping at the Britain's Disableds this year in September in Brunel University. But she's going up to Scotland in a few weeks because she's doing the McGregor. The ladies first timers and novices, with Jamie Gorian, so she's been training for that. So
good for her.
Yeah, so she's going to be up there. So she's really looking forward to it. Bless her, she's going up there on her own, I think, and she's never done anything like that before. But she's going to go up, and she's been training hard for it. And there's kind of like there's a ringed stone walk. There's like a stone to barrel. There's like a kind of a front hold, like a Husafell type hold the distance and all the rest of it. So we'll have to let you know. I'm sure we'll let you know how she gets on when she.
Please do. Yeah, please tell her I said hello as well, because it was lovely meeting her last year. Unfortunately, I'm not going to make Gary's this year because the Britain's strongest stone lifters on the same weekend as Gary's event.
Yeah,
I would love to have been over.
Yeah, I heard, because I think, but John, do you remember John Valguer, isn't it?
Yes.
William. Yeah, he's going to be out. He's going to be over there, so he's going to be there. Kind of, I think he's loading the. Yes, what was that?
James was competing against him in a strongman competition a couple of weeks ago. How funny is that? Because he's
really against Big John. Oh my goodness!
Yeah, well, the thing was,
he competed in the world's strongest man back in the day.
I know he can. I think it was like 2002, 2003 or something. He competed in the world, and he just posted something on Facebook the other day. I don't know if you saw it, Pete, but a video of him, and he was going against Dave Warner, I think, who is obviously heavily involved in Giants Live now. But it was him sort of 20 years, well, nearly 20 years ago competing. But no, it was a competition in Ipswich, and it was a Masters comp. And I was in the Masters and he was in the But the reason he did it was because his son, who's only 17, I think, was competing in the novices. So he wanted to go
tell me about that,
and do a comp. You know, they both wanted to do one together kind of thing. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if he's maybe had, I'm sure the way he must have had like a hip, I don't know if he's had a hip replacement or knee replacement, or he's had something done recently.
So his hip's done,
Yeah, I mean, he's still super strong in the static sort of stuff, you know. Yeah, no, it was good. Yeah,
Dave Warner. You mentioned Dave Warner. He lives over here now. He lives in Ballymoney.
Oh, does he?
Northern Ireland. That's where he lives and works. He's got his gym up there in Ballymoney. He runs a few strongman comps, and then he obviously commute back and forth with all the Giants Live stuff.
Yeah, because we'll be at the Royal Albert Hall in well, by the time this goes out, we probably will have already been. But Pete and I are going to Giants Live, and and Dave Warner's usually there. And often they have at that one, I'm not sure what the events are this year, but often they have the Nickel Stones there as well. And they do.
So they had him there 2 years ago. Brett and I went over. I met Brett over, and I met him in Edinburgh. We drove down with the Stones in the back of the car and did the Albert Hall. And it was lovely because I performed in the Albert Hall with the Queen Show back in 2004.
Did you?
I hadn't actually been in it since, so it brought back lovely memories for me, you know, for performing there. It was really cool.
It's a great event. We say, didn't we? The event in the Royal Albert Hall, just because the history of it and the kind of how good it is. It's a great event. Yeah, no, that's brilliant.
Fantastic.
Excellent, Stevie. Thank you so much for being generous with your time.
Time flies, doesn't it?
And coming back on. Yeah, we're like I say, I haven't worked out exactly, but I think it's a week or two's time when this goes out that we'll both be up in Scotland and seeing you. And I think, Pete, you're going to the Arboyne games the day before on the Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah, my holiday is based around the Highland Games and the Dinnie Stone Gathering.
Well, get yourself there for 11 o'clock. That's where we're having the Dinnie lift sessions at 11 o'clock at the Arboyne Games on the Saturday. There'll be some lifts there.
Yeah,
brilliant.
No worries. We're staying. We're there all weekend, so we're doing some like hills and stuff, and then we're there a couple of days before and a couple of days after as well. So we'll be around.
Okay.
So we'll be getting there for it. It'll be great. Can't wait.
Yeah. And I think I'm flying in on the Saturday evening, and then I'm staying at the same hotel as you and Jan, Stevie, that you gave me, I think. So
cool. You're staying at Bankery then.
Yeah. So I'm booked in there, but I'll have my chauffeur bring me around. You know.
Yeah. I'll figure it out.
I'm sure we'll have a whiskey or two when we see you there. We'll definitely will.
Oh, that'd be good. Right, I don't drink whiskey. I haven't drank spirits since I was a kid, but I may try a whiskey in Scotland when I see you in
We'll get you a good one. We'll get you a good one. Yeah.
Brilliant. So, Stevie, I mean, if people want to find out more about you and the gathering and all the kind of great things that you do, I mean, where would you like people to go? Is it best for people to follow you, or is there a website that people can go to? If people are just hearing about this kind of thing for the first time and they're interested, what's best for them to do?
Well, there's three main places you can see it. Obviously, there's four. I have a YouTube channel which I post some of my training videos, you know, for like grip techniques and techniques on how to lift the Dinnie Stones is there. But mainly it's been my social media, so it's just Stevie Shanks on Instagram or on Facebook. But I also have a website which is www.thedinniestones.com. So nice and easy to remember. And on the homepage of the Dinnie Stones, there's actually a gathering poster on the top left hand side, which is a link to the event program. So you can click on that and download the program. It gives you all the times of the events, the rules of the events, who's competing, you know, who they're named after, you know, it's a full detailed program. So that's available for download now, just directly off the website.
Excellent. And I haven't actually asked, do we need to get tickets or whatever for the gathering? Do we need to sort that out, or?
Well, it's free for everybody except you two. It's free.
I only just thought about that. Then I thought I haven't sorted out anything to really. Oh, that's fantastic.
No, it's absolutely free. Just come along, have a great day. Say hello. You'll enjoy the day. I'm really looking forward to it.
Brilliant. And if you happen to be anywhere near Aberdeen, because I think it's only about half an hour from Aberdeen, isn't it, from the airport? You said, if you're anywhere near Aberdeen on that weekend of August the 2nd, August the 3rd, there's the Highland Games on the Saturday, the Aboyne Games there, and then the Donald Dinnie Day, the Gathering on the Sunday in Potarch.
Yes. And we have the Stubman brothers coming this year as well.
Ah, okay.
Tom, Luke, and Harry, all three of them are coming down this year. They'll be setting up their stall and taking photographs, saying hello.
Brilliant. I'll bring some pictures to get signed in, so I can put. Well, I've already got signed pictures of the Stoltmans on the wall at the gym, actually. But I try and get pictures of everyone signed on the wall. But maybe I'll print off a lovely picture of you, Stevie, when you did the Stones, and I'll get you to sign that, and then I'll put that on the wall. That'd be good.
Assuming that I can write.
Clearing me. Excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you to Stevie. Thank you to Pete. Thank you to all of you for listening, for watching. We will be back next week, episode 256. And we will be, I can confirm, next week, episode 256, will be with Jack Kirby, the podiatrist, who I've mentioned for about the last 3 episodes, I think, Pete, haven't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's still time for him to cancel.
No, it's going to be on tomorrow. Next we're recording. Yeah. So brilliant. So we will see you next week for episode 256. We'll see Stevie in a couple of weeks up in Scotland, and we'll see you all next week. Until then, bye-bye.
You've been listening to Health Odyssey with Peter Lant and James St. Pierre. To get your regular fix of hype-free health, you can subscribe and leave a review wherever you get your favorite podcasts. You can find out more on today's and other topics at healthodyssey.com or find us on Facebook or Instagram by searching for Health Odyssey.